If you somehow managed to miss it, yesterday marked the first released trailer for the Demon Slayer game set to release on PlayStation 4, developed by CyberConnect 2. I can't believe I just said those words. It still hasn't really sunk in yet. We're 24 hours since the initial trailer, and I still can't believe we're getting a CC2 Demon Slayer game. What a time to be a Demon Slayer fan. Now that we know how beautiful the game is, and now that we know that it's in such good hands, I'm noticing a lot more questions about why is the game exclusively being released on PlayStation 4? It's a good question, so I thought I would take my time to tackle that question in a video. I'm going to try to answer two separate versions of this question. The first question I'm going to focus on is why it hasn't been announced for next generation consoles like PlayStation 5, and then I'll be answering separately why the game has not been announced for PC, Xbox, or Nintendo Switch. So again, firstly, why has the game not been announced for next generation consoles, specifically the PlayStation 5? Despite being released in 2021, we have no word on a next gen release. Well, I don't have an exact reason for you. I can't possibly know, so I'm going to have to guess at this one. The next part of the video is far more certain, but one possibility is that the game will indeed be on PlayStation 5 once the PlayStation 5 has been officially announced. Right now, we know very little about PlayStation 5. Its official reveal has still not taken place. I know that PlayStation did a live stream talking about some of the tech behind the PlayStation 5, but past that, we still know nothing about that console. It is completely mysterious. We don't even know what it looks like yet, and we hardly know any games that are coming to it. Most of the games that have been announced for PlayStation 5 are games that are also coming out for PlayStation 4. So perhaps sometime between now and the launch of PlayStation 5, Demon Slayer will be officially announced for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Now, if that doesn't happen, my best guess is that we're going to continue to see this trend. The trend I'm talking about is the idea of a bunch of PS4 games being announced for 2021 and not necessarily utilizing the PS5 hardware, which won't end up being a big deal because, of course, PS5 appears to be mostly backwards compatible. So some developers, and apparently in this case perhaps CC2, will just continue to develop PlayStation 4 games and then rely on the PS5's backwards compatibility, assuming the game won't need to take advantage of that PS5 hardware. This is both a good and bad thing. It's a good thing because there shouldn't be any delay in production. Sometimes with development companies, there'll be a bit of a delay because they're getting used to the new development hardware, but if they're just going to rely on the backwards compatibility of PS5, they don't even need to get used to developing on that hardware. But it's also a bad thing because that means the game won't take advantage of the newest and greatest technology. To be fair, it's not like most anime games are pushing the limits of current hardware. Don't get me wrong, there is a big difference from generation to generation, but it's pretty rare that an anime game pushes the technological barriers of a system. I mean, we've seen the Storm games that were made for PlayStation 3 and now PlayStation 4 be ported onto the Nintendo Switch, which has significantly less tech. Now, they are downscaled a little bit, but it's practically the same thing. Though if there are any important companies listening to this video right now, I will say that higher frame rates are always nice. Even if the Demon Slayer game just comes out for PS4 and they're relying on the backwards compatibility of PS5, well then I would really like to see a frame rate increase on PS5. That sounds like a technical issue for the console rather than the game, but hopefully that all works out. I personally don't really care if the game gets an official PlayStation 5 release because again, it's going to be backwards compatible regardless, so I'll be able to play my copy of Demon Slayer on my PS5 anyway. But for those on Nintendo Switch and Xbox and even PC, you might want to think about picking up a PlayStation 5 or a PS4 sometime around the holidays. Or I guess you could just wait for the release of the Demon Slayer game, because currently the game is announced for exclusively PlayStation platforms. Unlike the jump to the next generation, I don't think that we will see an announcement for Xbox or PC or Nintendo Switch because of one important fact. This is one of those downsides of the game not being published by Bandai Namco. I know, right? I'm making you want Bandai Namco back. As you probably know by now, just based on how much I've talked about the game, Demon Slayer is being published by Aniplex. Aniplex is a traditional media company. They actually also publish the anime for Demon Slayer, and they're responsible for publishing a lot of stuff in that industry. They're even publishing the Demon Slayer mobile game. So right now, Aniplex is completely in charge of Demon Slayer. So why does Aniplex hate Xbox and Nintendo Switch? Well, they don't. It doesn't exactly work like that, but they certainly do have some level of favoritism when it comes to PlayStation, hence the exclusive release. What you probably already know is that PlayStation is owned by Sony. What you might not know is that Sony also owns Aniplex, which is of course where this connection is coming from. If Aniplex is going to decide to make a Demon Slayer game, Aniplex is owned by Sony, so of course they're going to exclusively publish the game on their own platforms. I could see them eventually releasing the game on PC, but I wouldn't hold my breath if I was on a different console like Xbox or Nintendo Switch. Maybe Nintendo Switch. Maybe. Probably not. My guess is that Demon Slayer as a franchise will continue to be published on exclusively PlayStation platforms, or I guess I should say Sony platforms. So if you don't have a PlayStation right now and you're a big Demon Slayer fan, I'm sorry, man. I think the only way to get this game is going to be on PlayStation. My take on exclusives is that it kind of sucks, but it's a fact of the industry, so it is how it is. So sorry to bring you the disappointing news if you're on Xbox or PC or Nintendo Switch, but I wanted to talk about this because I saw so many questions about it, and I wanted to have a video where people could go to, or a video that you can link to people. If you ever see somebody saying, hey, why is this game being exclusively published on PlayStation and it's not coming to my favorite console, Xbox, well, you can link them this video, and then now they'll be more informed. So that's going to be it from me. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you're subscribed for more Demon Slayer content coming very, very, very soon. My name has been Bilbzy, and I'll be sure to catch you in the next video.